Hey guys, it's Stephanie with Mama Tries, and today I'm at my mom's house and we're resurfacing this table. So we're gonna sand it all completely down, and right now we're using, what grit?
80.
We're using 80 grit sandpaper to kind of take off the old varnish that it originally had, and then afterwards we're going to go to a 320, right? That's what you have?
Well, once we take this off, we're going to clean it out, take out all the dust, and then we're going to do the first layer of the refinish, and then with a 320, once it dries in about an hour, we're going to sand it lightly
With a 320.
and then put another coat.
So that's what you guys are going to be seeing. We are going to be doing this table kind of like a grayish stain, so that way it matches her house, because right now, as is, with this antique yellowish white that's going on here, it don't go. My mom has more of a modern look inside her house, more grays, teals, turquoises, like more of a creamy white rather than an antique white. Eggshell white. So we're trying to make this table look more like the rest of her house. So this is just one of the things that you can do in your home to kind of upgrade old furnishings, especially when you want to try and do something brand new to your house very cheaply, to just give it a little facelift for the spring. So I'm just going to sit y'all down and you guys can watch us do this. What I'm using right now is this little spatula tool, and I'm folding it onto the sandpaper to create like a little point, so that I can get into the little grooves and area and get all of that done. So that way the stain, when we put it on, it goes into those areas and creates more of a dramatic effect rather than just being completely solid and glooping in there. It will soak into the wood, because we're also using a stain and seal, basically. It's a polyurethane stain. You're going to have to reposition your thing every so often, because it starts to wear out some of the sandpaper when you're doing the grooves. Okay, and we also have a paintbrush here, and that's going to just dust away a lot of the stuff. We do have a vacuum, but this is just a small little area, and it's a lot easier to just kind of dust it away into the tarp that we have laying on the floor that's catching all the stuff. And you want to sand with the grain. That's another thing. You always want to sand with the grain because if you go against the grain, then it's going to make a big old mess. It's not going to be right. It's better to sand with the grain and also stain with the grain. Everything you want to go in one direction, okay? We're going to finish this up, start working on the legs and the chairs, and when we get down to staining, we will come back to y'all and show you where we're at. Okay, so I had a major blowout. I've gotten two legs done, and thankfully the legs, they all go in one direction, so it was a lot easier. I have 2 more legs left to do, to sand, and then we're going to get started with the big sander on the table. And get all of that smoothed out, as well as the leaf smoothed out. Then we're going to clean up our area with the vacuum and try to soak up as much stuff as we can. And then we're going to get started on staining the table part while we work on the legs. There's a possibility that we might work on the legs, the chairs. I keep saying legs. There's a possibility we might work on the chairs. Oh, so hot, I think I'm going delusional. Anyway, we might do the chairs first, just so that we don't have additional dust from sanding. But luckily the chairs don't need as much sanding because a lot of it's been worn off because you sit down and everything like that. And your body naturally starts wearing down the shininess, the clear coat. So we're going to get started on doing that. My mom went to go and get her drink. And yeah, it is feels like 100 degrees outside right now. Oh my God, and the humidity level, it's insane. But major blowout, end up going back gloveless, no choice. All right, now we're ready to sand. I started sanding the legs, and now I'm going to sand the seat parts that we're going to sit on, and then I'm going to do the tabletops. Because this is going to be really quick. My mom's going to record. All right. Now we also sanded in between each one because we're not going to be able to get in there with the sander, so that way we can just go around. Now, as you can see, I'm going with the grain of the seat. You can see it's going this way, so that's the direction I'm going in all the chairs. The only time that I'm not going in that direction is when I'm doing the side, only because you have no choice. Alright, so now I'm going to move over to the table, and since I did all 4 chairs with this sandpaper, it's kind of getting dull. I'm going to cut a new strip of sandpaper so that way I can do this nice and fresh. You don't want to go too far along. You want to feel this and see how rough it still is, and determines when you go into the next sandpaper. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll get back to the table. So now I've gotten down on the ground, and we're going to, as you can see, the grain goes this way. It's going in this direction. This is where it's connecting when they put the pieces of wood together to make this table. So that's the direction we're going to go. Okay, guys? Now, the other thing I want to mention is you don't want to stay in one spot too long because then you make a divot in that spot. So you want to keep moving up and down as much as possible. I kind of was doing it sort of how you would vacuum on the floor. You go up, you come back down. Go up, And that way you're covering the whole entire space and you're not staying in one place for too long or missing a spot, because sometimes you'll have a streak of nothing because you missed that spot. So when you're going forward, you're coming back and keeping it going. You're doing this kind of thing. And you want to keep that throughout the whole entire thing so you have consistency. I know there was something else I was going to say to you guys, but kind of forgot. I got into the zone and got all the way through.
Well, and this is Stephanie's mom, and I have something to say. I could have done this really nice too, but I like the way she does it.
This is sort of my Mama's Day gift to my mom, is helping her do this whole entire thing so that she can have a nice table in her house for Mother's Day as well. So, y'all know my mom is getting a lot of stuff because you guys have been watching the videos. Alright, so we're going to clean this all up, get all this dust off, and yeah.
Okay.
Okay guys, so I have this foam roller, and this is specific for staining, and it's so that way we can do some of the flat surfaces without having an issue. We have a cheesecloth to do the grooves and the sides of everything, and like the legs, things that are a little bit more intricate, so that way we can get really in there where this roller might not be able to reach. So I poured a little bit of our stain on here. We're going to do the first layer. It's going to be a very light layer because we're going to be sanding it down just to make sure that it's all incorporated for the second layer. When we put this on, we're going to wait about an hour for it to like really set in there, and then we're going to sand. So I'm going to start on the leaf first so I can get that out of the way. Then the table. Then we're going to work onto the chair bottoms. We're going to wait until all that sits because we have to work on these chairs in different ways, different angles, so we don't have drip marks coming down. Same with the legs. Okay, so all you do is roll so you have a good coat on here without it dripping too much. Let any of the excess kind of come off, and then just gently roll onto the surface. You don't want to add too much pressure on the roller because then you're going to squeeze it off some other areas. And you're going to work in small little sections till you get it all the way through. Be a nice thin layer. Nothing more than that because then you're just kind of wasting it. Now I'm going over some areas because there's clumps and I'm trying to spread it out so that way we don't have these little dark marks. Okay, so it's the next day. I'm back in my dirty clothes for this. And what we're going to do is we decided to paint the bars of this white and the bottom legs of the table and the chairs white. She's getting started on that. Because I tested on this chair with the gray, I'm going to sand that down back to the regular wood color, and that's how we're going to start painting it from there. Now the part that goes up and around on the back of the chair is going to be gray, so I'm leaving that alone. So yeah, watch our process. Now notice I'm only doing the bottoms and the tops of each of these, because these flat pieces, I'm just going to use the machine. It'll be a lot easier. Alright, so the most part, I got most of it off. We're using a paint and primer in one, so it's going to cover up a lot of the lighter gray that's on there from the stain. So it's not that huge of an issue. We just got to put a couple of coats and that's it. Okay? So we're going to get started on a lot of white on the tables. So that way, yeah, we can get things moving along. Okay, so I am hot beyond belief and looking crazy. But we did paint all of these.
Did you take off your braid?
No, I didn't take off my braid. We painted all of these, and I painted the bottoms of these. So, what's next is the chairs, painting those bottoms white. But right now, it's so hot, I think we're going to need an AC break for just a few minutes. And then we're going to come back to everything. Okay. So I am doing a second coat on the gray, just because there was some spots that were patchy and a little bit lighter. My mom's doing the bottom half of the chairs, so she flipped one over on the other chair, painting the underside, and then she's going to reverse it, and same with the last two chairs. So yeah, sometimes you gotta add an extra coat. Sometimes you don't end up changing colors to things. You know, a lot of things can happen when you're doing a project. You just gotta be ready to be able to change that in a moment's notice. Okay, just a little tip that I found out, and this is just by trial and error. With washing your paintbrushes, you can use mineral spirits. We did get mineral spirits to clean the brushes and stuff, but sometimes it doesn't always work. And it depends on the brush that you're using. What I've come to find out is that if you use some fabric softener mixed with some water and you let things soak for a while, it'll eventually just come right off easily with the fabric softener. So just a little tip that I found out. It doesn't work with every brush, but it does work with a lot of the different brushes. So let me show you where we're at. Let's see if I can't turn you around. Okay, so I did my other coat there. We're almost done with this one. We have to do a second coat, it looks like. And we got 3 more chairs left to do. And 1 more side of the white for the bottom there. And then we're done. Oh, and the backs we have to paint. But for right now, until everything dries in the bottom, we're done.